What's up? Today we're gonna be watching a Piers Morgan video. I don't really care for Piers Morgan too much. I ain't got nothing against the guy. I just don't really care for his takes and his content too much or whatever. But he's debating Andrew Tate, and for Andrew Tate, I like some takes of Andrew Tate. I don't really like too many takes of his takes on women, but I can agree to disagree. Like a civilized human. Uh, I liked his debate he did. Well, not debate, but interview he did with this dude. I'll leave the link at the end of this video. I liked the interview he did with that dude, and he made some good points. So I figured we'd check out this video. It's Piers Morgan debating, or they apparently get into an argument or something. So let's check it out.
Women are permanent prey every single time they leave the house because of all of these liberal, femme-minded,
and why do you think?
Girl feels,
Okay.
girl boss,
And why
Netflix,
do you think?
Piers Morgan,
And what? Okay. And why do you think? And Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate. Why do you think it is that people think you're a misogynist? A couple of nights ago, I interviewed Andrew Tate in what may have been our most explosive interview yet. Just a few minutes after I left the Uncensored studio, news broke that Charlie Kirk had been shot and, as we now know, assassinated. We're going to bring you the Andrew Tate interview in full, unedited and uncensored. But first, Andrew Tate returns to give his reaction.
Bro looks mad, man.
Welcome back to Uncensored.
I don't blame him, dude. I like his takes in the video.
Just after we finished our interview 2 days ago, just first of all, your immediate reaction when you heard what had happened to Charlie Kirk.
I was devastated. I was very, very sad about it because
Same.
He's one of the good guys, and he's one of the people who believed in discourse, and he believed in speaking and trying to explain with logic why your worldview is better than the opposing. And if we don't have discourse, then all we have left is violence and war. The point of conversation is to avoid war. The point of conversation is to be able to sit down and be logical enough to come to a conclusion without the need for violence. And it turns out that that's becoming less and less likely in America today.
I mean, it was,
Look, like I said, I don't believe everything Andrew Tate says is really good, and I don't take all of his takes real seriously. But I do believe that he's speaking up at a time like this that he should be, especially about America and the United Kingdom and other Western countries. I think he has a very good voice for that, and he says he's going to run for England. I don't know if it's prime minister or whatever, but I'd like to see him try. I think he could do it. He isn't on like drugs or nothing like Conor McGregor was trying to run for, Ireland or whatever. But yeah, I think he could. I think he could have a lot of good voice with young viewership, especially if he. I haven't heard too much of the misogynist takes that Piers Morgan has mentioned, but we'll get into it.
It turns out that that's becoming less and less likely in America today.
I mean, it was, as we get more and more information about the shoot, he's 22 years old. He had bullet casings with "Hey Fascist, Catch," Bella Ciao, or Bella Ciao, which is a reference to an Italian song adopted by the anti-fascist resistance during World War II. And then several...
Spoke about this in my video.
The ambiguous ones, if you read this, you're gay, LMAO.
Yeah, I forgot to put that in my video, but that was the fourth bullet. Yeah.
Which is a meme from internet culture associated with the furry craze. When you look at all that in totality, what do you think we're dealing with here in terms of who this person is?
I think America has a lot of problems. I think that it's an extremely politically charged environment, perhaps the most politically charged environment on the planet. Politics is all anyone talks about all day, every day. The judicial system is politicized. The educational system is politicized. You couple in with the fact it's the most medicated country in the world. It's very unusual for someone who grew up in Europe to know a large percentage of his fellow students to be on some kind of anti-anxiety medication, some kind of depression medication.
Yeah, that fucking right, bro.
Remove the humanity
That's so true.
Mind and just wipe their brain. You couple that with a hateful media, which is constantly constantly spitting out hateful rhetoric, and you're going to have a whole bunch of drones walking around without humanity, waiting to receive their slave instructions, and they're going to believe that they're doing the right thing by murdering people as opposed to just talking to them. So America's a very, very interesting place with a lot of problems. It's easy to just blame guns. I think that's pretty shallow to do because you can kill with a car, you can kill with a knife. We need to find out why there's such a spiritual sickness across all of the Western world.
He's 100% right, and I think the left wing blaming guns like they do constantly, even when anything happens, even when it's their own people, and then they blame that the shooter was on the right wing, the opposing side constantly, even when they have blatant proof, like they constantly was trying to blame this new shooter on the right wing when it wasn't even about that. It's about mental illness. And I like what Tate said. He puts it into words very good. And I like exactly what he said here. This was another point he made in that video.
Especially America.
The governor in Utah gave a pretty powerful address today in which he appealed to people to tone down rhetoric, to get off social media, actually, as much as you can, get back to the real world where 80% of the population exists in America. You're very active on social media. You can be very inflammatory on social media. I mean, some of the tweets you've done since Charlie Kirk's death, the left are evil, murdering scum who kill people or let others be held accountable. They're not the good guys. The compassionate, nice guys want you dead, and they'll
There we go, Tate.
encourage us to do it. I get
There we go.
death threats a day from these people. We are at war. Civil war was another one. You know, some
He's
people
right.
say, all right, Andrew Tate, you are part of the problem. You are yourself spewing pretty toxic stuff out to millions of people, whipping up rather than calming down the problem. What do you say to that?
Well, he's not really whipping up, whatever Piers Morgan means by that. I mean, I guess it means raising tensions. He's not really raising any tensions, doing that more than what the left wing inciting violence does constantly. He's basically just spreading the awareness to and the lower class and middle class fucking people, and to get more aware of this fucking nuisance that's in their country, destroying the country, eating it from the inside out. And I agree with him on it.
Well, if you have a point of view, somebody can be radicalized by it, right? If you have any point of view on the planet, somebody can be radicalized by it. And social media, like all things,
That's true. Yeah, that too.
that can
It's
do
true.
amazing things. But if it's used the wrong way, it can also do very destructive things. I don't think the answer is to start telling people to not talk. I think the answer is more discussion, more debate. Because if you remove debate, the only answer is violence. So I think that it's also my tweets, which you just highlighted, the fact that I do receive death threats. Somebody did try to kill me only a few weeks ago, and then a friend of mine, a guy who I respected, was blasted, and I had to watch him bleed out. I think it's pretty fair that to say that, of course, my tweets are going to be emotionally charged.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Area where we say that we can't talk anymore, because that's only going to lead to more violence. We have to be able to speak to each other. And I think that you would agree, perhaps I'm wrong, that it's the left which seem to be the ones who are so obsessed with assassination. It seems to be the left which are
You damn right.
Antifa and their riots trying to assassinate President
Radicalized
Trump.
lunatics.
An attempt was made on my life. An attempt was made on Nick Fuentes' life. They just killed Charlie Kirk. For us to sit here and pretend that this violence isn't going one way is disingenuous.
I certainly don't think it only goes one way. I certainly think
It's 100% disingenuous to even compare left wing to right wing assassination attempts and violent acts is off the roof. Like, left wing is just blown shit out of the water, and they want to sit there and talk about the right wing. It's always the left wing that's shooting and causing violence and acting out, and can't take civil debate and shit like that into a fucking logical level and even think about what is going on in the situation and give good opinions and good credible information. They cannot do none of that. They're literally brain dead individuals, mentally ill individuals, and need help.
it can go the way of any extremist. That the far right has its own problem with extremists. There have been lots of left-wing politicians and public figures who've been targeted. So I think it's a problem that goes both ways. But I have said for quite a while,
They've been targeted, not assassinated, and I don't want to push nothing, but I feel like that's gonna be the thing. Charlie Kirk is gonna be the thing that pushes that, and I'm not saying I don't think it's a good thing. I don't wish death upon no one, but I feel like I'm not saying, and it's not justified either. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? The justifying violence on the left part has just been outrageous. a tremendous amount over the years. It is it's flabbergasting. I mean,
that the woke mind virus, as Elon Musk calls it, that ideology is extremely dangerous, because the irony of it is you've got this kid who is, purporting to be anti-fascist, but actually using violence and a gun to silence permanently someone whose views he doesn't agree with.
Yeah, and that's because they don't believe anything that they preach. They don't care about nothing they preach. They do it to appease this some kind of agenda. They have no logical thinking in what they believe. They don't care. You ask them about it, they don't have no idea what you're talking about. You can beat them in debate easily. That's why they hated Charlie Kirk, because he beat them in debate over the stupid shit they believe constantly, and they couldn't take it no more. Exactly why.
The point being, that is the epitome of fascism.
Well, that's exactly it. So the reason this is so dangerous from the left, and it's not as dangerous from the right, is because the people who are on the right live in a version of objective reality. We live in the real world. These people do.
You damn right.
Yep. If you're going to believe that a man is a woman,
yep.
You're going to believe that we should have no borders for our country and unlimited numbers of people can turn up and just steal from us.
Yep.
If you're going to believe that criminals shouldn't go to jail, you're not a person who's sensible. You now have no parameters from which to operate your logic. So
non-rational. You're not rational.
Land, it becomes a lot easier to justify murdering a political opponent than it does if you operate from a frame of rationality. So for that reason, the left are far more dangerous, because all of their ideas are dangerous. Because
you're damn right, and it incites violence and pushes it.
The same reason it's dangerous for me to say to you, gravity isn't real. You can jump off a building. If you start believing in things that are completely falsified, completely fantasy, then murder is the end result of all of it. So the left is a serious problem across the world. It's a serious problem across America, especially. You add in a spiritual sickness where we have nothing unifying us in the West anymore. We don't share respect for a flag. We don't share respect for the country we're in. We don't share language. We don't share religion. We don't even share economic prosperity anymore. There's literally nothing unifying us. And if you're going to remove the capability to debate and discuss ideas, then you're going to have an absolute civil war. And that's what's so sad, that Charlie Kirk literally was the number one guy trying to speak. He wasn't trying to inflame tensions. He wasn't trying to push violence. He was the guy saying, look, let's talk this through and let me show you why you're wrong. He was the good guy who did the right thing, and he caught a bullet for it. And that is truly devastating.
But when you post...
He's right, and what I like about that, what I like about what he said there is like, there's no unity in like religion, anything like that in America. He's 100% right. There's a couple of people that's been preaching this here recently, and he's 100% right on that take. There's no unity in religion, nothing like that in America no more. There's no sense of culture. It's all been ripped away and made you feel like you're just a piece of shit in America. And it's all Western countries like this. It's been made like this to basically destroy you from the inside out.
Civil war, literally. One post just said civil war. What do you mean by that? What do you expect?
I mean that civil war is coming if we can't talk to each other.
Well, that's a different sentiment. Had you said that, then fair enough.
Talk to each other.
What do you mean by that? What do you expect?
I mean that civil war is coming if we can't talk to each other.
Well, that's a different sentiment. Had you said that, then fair enough. But just to say civil war is...
Well, did I give a verb?
Well, what you're saying by civil war, you're saying to your followers that you believe there is a state of civil war here. Now, as you know, the Civil War in America was one of the most consequential periods in its history and was waged with gun violence.
Well, I can answer that in two ways. Firstly, if conservatives can't give their opinion and they can't talk openly and freely without catching a bullet, then I guess it is a war. But that wasn't what I was inferring. I was inferring that civil war is coming if we can't speak to each other and unify behind an idea, especially the idea of being an American. You've now added a verb saying that I was trying to incite civil war, because very much like all other media figures, it's your primary intention.
I didn't add anything.
It's your primary intention to just spin up negative clips and find things that get you views. And that's exactly what the liberal media has always done, which is why conservatives are under permanent attack. We're going to now sit here and say I'm a violent person.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Tate's take on this. I didn't really hear him inside it too much, but I mean, I could be wrong. I didn't catch it though.
When someone else turns turns up at
Why are
my
you
house
putting
attempting
words?
to kill me like they did 3 weeks ago,
Why are you
they're going
putting
to pretend
words?
that has nothing to do with you, Piers.
Why are you
The liberal
putting?
media, in and
Okay,
of
you
itself,
can
is
keep
truly
talking.
disgusting. It's the
Yeah.
reason why Charlie Kirk had to
Okay,
eat a
if you let
bullet.
me
Because
respond
the
to
liberal
you.
media convinced this guy,
Yeah.
this guy who's been probably looks like he's on SSRIs to me, that Charlie Kirk was the heart of evil when he truly wasn't. So please do not, in this conversation about a fallen comrade, do not do the exact thing the media always do and the exact thing that ended up getting him killed. Do
Okay.
not say I said something I didn't say,
Okay.
and do not give some
Can I
garbage
get a word in?
inference trying to get a bunch of clicks
Can I say
on your
something?
channel. You may
Okay.
need money, but I don't, sir. So I don't care
let me
about
just
clicks. You may be
respond.
broke. I'm not. I didn't say let's go to civil war.
If I may
didn't say let's
respond,
start a civil war.
If I may
said this will
respond,
end it. I
you
said
can keep
civil war
talking,
because
Andrew,
that's
or
where
you
it's
can
going to
shut
end.
up. I never added any verb. I literally read your post was 2 words.
Oh, he's saying he was trying to cite we should have a civil war. Yeah. I didn't get the like feeling that he was, but he might have been if Andrew took it that way. You know what I mean? That's his own feeling.
Neither did
Civil war. I never
Neither did
added
I.
a
You
verb. So the
inferred,
whole
sir.
pretext
You
for
inferred.
your whole pretext for your little rant about me is based on a lie, which the viewers will know was a lie because they heard what I said. I never added any words to your post. I read out the words civil war and asked you what you meant
know what
by
the word
it.
infer
You then
means?
clarified it. You then clarified it, and I would say to you in return that if you don't want people to misinterpret your post, then maybe post what you actually mean rather than posting the words civil war, which I think are incendiary.
Thank you very much. It's clear that conservatives are under attack by a rabid left-wing sect of the population, which is being radicalized by media figures very much like yourself. That is clear. We just saw a man bleed to death in front of his wife and children purely because the media.
He is right, and I've heard Piers Morgan say some fucked up shit too. So he isn't in it like he isn't completely innocent.
Convinces everybody at home that he is evil somehow for having an opinion.
There is an irony. There is an irony. Okay.
And MSNBC and all of these people who do this, even after. Convinces everybody at home that he is evil somehow for having an opinion.
There is an irony. There is an irony. Okay.
And MSNBC and all of these people who do this, even after his death, were constantly trying to make excuses for the shooter. It is disgusting.
Okay.
And I know you don't care, Piers, but a man tried to come into my house and stab me 3 weeks ago. So for you to infer I'm saying that we need to have a civil war, it's actually quite heinous. So please be careful, sir.
I'm not the one who said civil war. You are.
I said civil war, and then you tried to infer, you tried to sit and ask and infer that I'm trying to promote violence.
I asked you what you meant by it.
First, you talked about how my tweets are inflammatory, and you're trying to say that I promote violence. Then you read those tweets out because you're inferring I'm a violent person so that some idiot at home is going to watch this and believe that I deserve to die. And I'm telling you that I'm here. I understand you.
Well, Piers Morgan just kind of like told on himself. He said, I asked you what you meant by it. He basically just was trying to say he incited violence. If he asked him what he meant by it, then he would be inciting violence. He's trying to catch him on a gotcha question. That is like kind of fucked up. But
you need views. I understand you need clicks. I understand you're poor. I'm not. I'm here. I don't give a shit about the views. Do not infer I said something I did not say. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I didn't, as everybody who watches this knows. So you just lied. Andrew Tate, thank you very much. Well, now, here is that extraordinary interview from early this week as it was recorded in real time. Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum Night, all natural supplements. Thousands of Brits and Americans are already
I don't want to watch this.
with incredible results. Optimum Day is designed to boost your
kind of about Piers Morgan shit.
between social media scandals and real-world anger is increasingly non-existent. Instead, they're codependent. A small movement can rapidly become a nationwide phenomenon. A shocking but local incident can trigger global indignation. But the root cause of it all and the motives behind it can both get lost in the noise. This summer's Raise the Colours campaign is a case in point, a big push to hoist the English flag across the country has entangled fair-minded protest and patriotism with propaganda and prejudice.
Patriotism.
People are angry, but not everything they're angry about is true. The same can be said about the brutal murder of Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska on a train in North Carolina. Justified online fury over the appalling footage has sparked a massive furore. prompting even the US president to intervene. But some people believe it's only become a racial scandal because of bad faith actors on social media. Andrew Tate understands these issues well, and he joins me now. Andrew Tate, welcome back to Uncensored.
Piers?
I've not spoken to you since, obviously, a massive development in your life. I need to talk about the elephant in the room off the top. You're facing 10 charges, including rape, actual bodily harm, human trafficking, and controlling prostitution for gain, relating to 3 women.
Damn. What the fuck?
Your brother Tristan faces 11
crazy.
charges, including rape, actual bodily harm, and human trafficking.
Trying to take his ass down.
To that development in your life.
My response is very simple, Piers. It was the UK Foreign Office that wrote to the Romanians in 2023 and said I was a national security threat because I had too much influence over the young men of the country. They told the Romanians to get me off the internet. The Romanians arrested me and, as you know, spent 3 years accusing me of things that were not true. The Romanians threw the entire case out because it's garbage and there never was a case. Once the Romanians throw their case out, then the British state brings up some garbage. I'm considered a national security threat to the Matrix, and all they do is lie. You have seen, and we have spoken multiple times throughout this fiasco of what's happened to me in Romania, and I've yet to have a court case or ever be convicted of anything ever. This is a deep state operation by the UK Foreign Office trying to stop me from doing the one thing I'm intent on doing, which is saving the British state from themselves.
Will you come back?
It's true about that. They have not got him yet. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't supposed, like, so-called prison for a little bit, but they have not got him yet. Like, I don't know. I don't know nothing about that bullshit, but I'm just
To the United Kingdom to stand trial?
Absolutely. I'm not scared of these people. They're lying and they know they're lying. I beat the Romanian system, sir. You do understand this is the most corrupt country in Europe. You do understand that if there was even 1% truth to any of their accusations, I'd be under the jail. I'm sure you know that very well. They couldn't even find a victim. It is all invented. The UK Foreign Office specifically wrote to the Romanians and said, get him off the internet. I have the paperwork. The second I'm there in the UK, I'll be sitting with you, unless I'm remanded, with that piece of paper showing you this is a setup from an intelligence agency because I'm considered a national security threat because young men listen to me instead of their propaganda. It is a lie. And anybody after Lucy Connolly and everything else they've done to everybody after the Southport attacks, if anybody has any faith left in the British justice system, they need their head checked. All of it's a lie. All of the accusations a lie.
It's true about that.
It's a scam. And Piers, you know it is. You know I've done nothing wrong.
I don't know that.
Yes, of course you do. Even you.
I don't know.
Even
I don't
you.
know. I don't know.
Even you.
I don't know. Just to be
with
clear.
your limited faculty,
Listen, Andrew.
Understand very well that I am clearly a target of the system.
Andrew, I know what you say about this. I also believe that everyone's entitled to a fair trial. I believe everyone's innocent till proven guilty. And I believe in the British justice system. If you say you're going to come back and face trial, that seems to me to be the best way for the evidence to be properly examined in a British court of law, and your fate will be determined in that way, as it is for many other people. I don't know.
Believe in the British
I've not been around you in your environment. I don't know. I don't know whether you're innocent or guilty. How would I know?
Well, you do know I'm innocent. I can see it all over your face, Piers.
No, you can't.
Of course I can.
I don't know what you're guilty of or innocent of.
I can see it in your eyes.
And you told me that the vaccine was important and you were wrong. And you told me that
Ooh.
jail in Romania and you were wrong. So your whole life you've been wrong.
I didn't.
So
I did well. Okay, just to be clear.
That's a setup and a scam.
Just to be clear, I did not.
Your whole life you've been wrong.
And I am telling you,
all right,
I'm
keep
innocent,
shouting.
so you should listen to me.
Okay, just to be clear, I never told you anything about what would happen in the Romanian system, other than I would await the justice system to play out there. On genocide with Israel, I still don't think it is at the bar of genocide because no other official body has said that it is genocide yet. I will wait and see how that plays out. So you make a lot of claims about what I've said, but none of it bears relation to reality. You said about vaccines. What did you say about vaccines?
Firstly, I think we should I'm going to do you a favor here, sir. I think we should move on. Because for me to destroy you over vaccines in Israel again, I mean, this will be the fourth iteration of these conversations. If you're waiting for the official body of Israel to admit they're doing a genocide, we're going to be waiting for a long time. And if you believe in the British justice system after everything they've just done and the bullshit they've locked people up for, you're an idiot. So
That's crazy.
From this into something that's
You want me to destroy you again, he said.
Knows you're wrong.
Okay, that's actually demonstrably not true, but I'm happy to move on. And for what it's worth, as I think I said to you last time, I believe the COVID vaccines saved a lot of lives. They weren't perfect, like
Oh,
all
you're full of
vaccines.
bullshit,
There were
dude.
problems associated with it, but I believe they saved a lot of lives. You don't agree? I believe
I
that.
don't either.
So we can, I hope, respect each other's opinions. But let's go on to why I think
I
the
can respect
Ukrainians
your
come
opinion,
uncensored today.
but you're an idiot.
Oh, tell me why you want
That's just how it is, to be honest with you, bro.
What happened to that poor Ukrainian girl on the bus is absolutely disgusting. And I'm here because I think it ties into the Raise to Colors campaign. And I'll be actually perfectly honest with you. The reason I am here is to hopefully, as a half black, half white man, inspire white people to once again defend themselves,
He's right.
defend their nations, because they are clearly being genocided. They are the most subjugated, the most prejudiced, the number one race which has to suffer from the most prejudice on the planet in the world today. And I'm waiting for them to stand up for themselves and stick up for themselves. And I'll tell you why. I have children from multiple women, and I am racially ambiguous in many ways. When I go to Egypt, people talk to me in Egyptian, and some people say I look white, some people say I look mixed race. I get called all of these things. But when I have children with a black lady, the children are black, and I have Chinese children, and I have Turkish children, and I have many white children. And I know that my Turkish children have a place they can go where they will not be subject to violence because of their skin color. As the same with my Chinese and black children. There's many places on the earth they're going to be free to grow up when I'm gone. I'm very worried for my white daughters because I don't think they're going to have a country anywhere left on this planet in less than a decade where they're not going to be a victim or a target for potential rape or violent crime purely because of the color of their skin.
And that's what most people were worried about here recently is their kids and who they're leaving behind going into the future. They're worried about their lineage and shit like that. And it's fucking land's being taken out and destroyed up underneath us over fucking gutted politics. It's ridiculous.
It's down to white people to finally grow a backbone and stick up for yourselves because you're being genocided. This is from a mixed race man. You are being genocided.
He's right. He's fucking right. 100% fucking right. Tate is 100% right in this situation. Conversation, he is.
In what way? Do I think black people kill black people?
No. Do you think black people suffer from crime? Do you
think
they are also
suffers from crime? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would argue.
Oh shit.
I'm wrong, but that's never happened before. That a black person isn't killed because of the color of their skin. They're going to be killed because there's some other drug dealing debt for them to deal with in inner city Chicago. That young girl was killed because she was white. It was a hate crime, and she was targeted.
We don't actually know that.
Of course we know that.
No.
I'll prove. I'll show you how we know that.
No. I know what you're going to say because I've already debated it. The reality of the situation. You had a severely mentally ill, probably schizophrenic.
I don't give.
I'm about to tell you.
People are mentally
ill.
Let's
deal with some facts. Then you can. Let's deal with some facts. Then you can give me your opinion. That's how this works, right? He is heard on tape saying, "I got the white girl." Okay, that suggests a potential racial. Potentially, yeah. Okay, but we don't actually know, and I do think, as I've said publicly, I do think the mainstream media has behaved in a very hypocritical manner. If that had been the other way round, and you'd had a white man killing a beautiful young black girl and saying, "I got the black girl," it would have instantly been a huge story covered by mainstream media in a very aggressive manner.
Oh, really?
Ignored
You don't say.
Was an indication to me that there was a decision taken. Yeah, so I think there was a clear bias exposed in the way it was ignored. So I would agree with you about that. But I do think it's important to point out this guy had been in and out of prison 14 times.
By lots of major networking shows. So, like CNN and SMN, take them off the fucking network government, You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Fucking nothing but parasites.
Should never have been let out, but is clearly mentally ill, probably schizophrenic. We don't actually know what motivated him to kill this poor Ukrainian woman. And the reason it's important is that once we do establish more information and more facts, we can make a more considered opinion. One of the issues I have with you, Andrew, and a lot of other people, is that there's always a rush to judgment. And the problem with rushes to judgment is later information may contradict what you're feeling in the moment. I remember in the riots that erupted after we had a young black boy killing those poor white girls, right? There was a rush to judgment that he'd come in illegally on a boat on the south coast of the UK. It turned out that wasn't the case. So I believe in waiting for facts and information and then casting a judgment. And I think my criticism of you in these situations is you have immediately decided that was the motivation, therefore it's a racist hate crime, and that's it. And I would argue to you, why don't you give it a bit of time? Why don't you wait for...
I mean, he basically just proved himself wrong a minute ago, didn't he? Like, I this is why I don't like a lot of things Piers Morgan says, because, like, he basically just proved himself wrong. He said if it had been a white man stabbing a young black girl and it had been the other way around, and, you know, in different shoes or whatever, that it would have been all blasted all over social media, riots, everything like that. If and basically saying if I had killed the black girl, that's what if he was referring to that. What makes it less racially guided? You know what I mean? I just don't like that.
more information and make a more considered opinion.
Okay, first things first, if we're going to talk about waiting for information, you shouldn't have told me that Israel was not committing a genocide on October 8th. You've been proven wrong. That's the first thing. The second thing, he said, I got that white girl. You're going to pretend that doesn't matter as if it's not proof
I didn't
enough.
say it didn't matter.
Third thing,
I said it suggests a racial motivation.
Everybody who stabs somebody is mentally ill. This mentally ill bullshit, I don't know where this has come from, where someone's a criminal, but they're mentally ill. Every single person who commits murder is mentally ill. Every single person who commits necrophilia is mentally ill. Every single person who believes they can get in and out of a bank with money without getting caught has some kind of mental disorder. They're all mentally ill. I don't care about mentally ill. And here's the final nail in the coffin to your asinine argument, sir. Why did he not stab anyone else on the bus? Because he was already on the bus.
And they were almost all black.
Touch them if he's so mental. If he can't control his mind, why didn't he stab any of those? Is it because everyone
I like Tate's counter argument here. That is a very good counter argument. I like that. That's what I said.
Was black. The first white person he sees, he kills and says, I got that white girl. And you don't believe that's enough proof for a court of law to determine that was a racially motivated attack?
It wouldn't be enough proof at the moment for a court of law. No, absolutely, I believe that. But that's because I've covered many court cases and proof.
He kills and says, I got that white girl. And you don't believe that's enough proof for a court of law to determine that was a racially motivated attack?
It wouldn't be enough proof at the moment for a court of law. No, absolutely, I believe that. But that's because I've covered many court cases and you haven't. No, as a journalist, I just prefer. I prefer in waiting for more information.
People on the bus
I think
person,
fine.
This person, who I will agree was probably deranged, although I give no merit to that, although it does not garner any sympathy from me, he clearly had something wrong with him.
Yeah, definitely.
Radicalized by a leftist media machine, which blames every single thing on white people, which says that white people are the devils, that everything white people have done is wrong, that their entire history is wrong, and that they deserve the bad things that happen to them.
You have no idea. You have no idea that he
demonize an entire race endlessly. We're going to end up having a few idiots who act on that.
But Andrew,
and that's what this man did.
But
because
Andrew,
of the media. The leftist media are complicit.
Okay.
I don't know what Piers Morgan is gonna say, but Andrew Tate right here is like the most spot on he's been in this interview right here. I mean, like, he is 100% right. That is all the left do is constantly incite violence and push diversity rhetoric, and all it really does is push up mentally ill, middle-aged white women. Tate's 100% right here.
But Andrew,
and that's what this man did.
But
because
Andrew,
of the media. The leftist media are complicit in what happened to this poor young girl.
Actually, you have absolutely no idea if anything you've just said is remotely true.
Oh, that right there. That's exactly why I don't like Piers Morgan right there. Right there, exactly. He blatantly lies. Like, oh, you don't know if this is true. It's a fucking obvious fact, my guy. Open your fucking eyes. Are you fucking blind? You know what I mean? Like, you're brainwashed, bro. Another brainwashed civilian walking around like a headless chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just idiots, bro.
Absolute certainty that it is a fact.
None of it. It's not a fact. If it was a fact,
it is a fact. It's 100% a fact.
That's the point. This is my point. Again, off you go making a series of assumptions.
For as long,
it's not an assumption. It's a very It's a very widely associated thing here in America. Very widely, there is definitely associated with the left wing. Very widely.
Being smart, I'm just saying, it's not a fact.
Once again, this is Piers.
It's close enough to be a fact, to be honest.
Let me ask you a question. If there's an Islamic terror attack, like the London bombings, and then Abu Hamza, Mr. Hook, Captain Hook, he ends up going to jail for a very long time. He didn't blow anything up, but no, he was talking about how Islamic terror attacks should happen because he believes that people deserve them because of his personal worldview. He was instigating so that some idiot would listen to him with less brains than him and then go and murder. What is the difference between that and what the leftist mainstream media
no difference. No fucking difference.
White people constantly and endlessly.
Well,
there's always going to be
you're raising okay.
Who's mentally impaired
Allow me to respond.
Who's going to act upon
Allow me to respond.
We're locking up Islamic extremists.
All right.
Discussing.
This is I just hate dude. I hate the way Piers fucking talks, bro. Allow me to respond. Allow me to respond. Allow me to respond. The serious fucking view about and then tell you what you got. You know what you got saved up. That's what I always do.
We should also be locking up anybody who's demonizing an entire race, demonizing all of their history, and demonizing them to the point where they cannot get on a bus. They can't get on public transport without worrying about being murdered. And I have a future on this planet where I'm not here. There's a future on this planet where my white daughters exist and I am gone. And they will be victims and targets unless white people start standing up for themselves, standing up for their beliefs, and standing up for their nations. Because you're the only race which is being erased. You're the only one. Nobody is invading and erasing any other race. Only you white people. You seem to sit there and wonder, oh, maybe it's not too bad. Maybe it's because of this. Maybe it's because of that. It doesn't matter. The world is tribal. You're not going to exist much longer if you don't stick up for yourselves. And you are clearly targets of an orchestrated campaign. There is a
He's right. That's what I've been telling white people. You got to stick up for yourself, man. None of this white fucking that's bullshit. Wake the fuck up. All this bullshit. That's what I've been glad that a lot of people like him and other people were stepping up and saying this shit, not just me and other people constantly saying this shit. I've been wanting to be an advocate of it. Lots of people need to step up and say some shit like this. This is exactly what's needed right now.
The campaign which is designed to demoralize and eradicate you. And there are a few idiots who listen to this campaign and act on it savagely in real time on your public transport systems that you pay for with your taxes.
When you stop shouting.
Let me ask you a question, Pierce.
Well, why don't you just stop shouting for a moment and let me respond?
The majority of taxes to import white people who don't work to replace them? No other race on the planet would commit suicide to this level besides the white man. And I'm here to encourage the white man to stand up for himself.
Since you mentioned taxes, you could explain why the police had to seize more than £2 million from your brother for failing to pay tax on revenue from your online businesses.
Great way to change subject. Why did the British state try and steal my money? Well, considering the British state, the Foreign Office meddled in a foreign country's prosecution service and wrote them a letter and asked the intelligence services of Romania to get me off the internet. I guess, since I'm a national security threat, all bets are off. Of course they stole my money. Of course they do. They do anything they can to me because they consider me the enemy.
But you avoided paying tax, so you raise the issue of being a taxpayer.
They do.
Well, you raise the issue of being a taxpayer.
They want to get rid of the man who talks about the problem.
All right,
As if the UK doesn't have enough issues.
At some point, you need to stop talking.
Let me ask you a question, sir. All of the knife crime that's happening in London, all of the blood that's running on the streets, considering you can't even wear a nice watch in that city anymore, is it white people or black people who are doing the stabbing? I'm half white, half black. You can't offend me. Just tell me the truth.
And who are most of the victims?
Who's doing all the killing?
And who are most of the victims?
Well, some of them are black. Some of them are white. It doesn't matter.
Actually, the vast majority are black. So your whole argument, the whole argument you've been shouting about, the whole argument you've been shouting about for the last 10 minutes, you've just exposed yourself as being a misleading argument.
Absolutely not. I don't care if black people.
Yeah, I don't see where he explodes himself.
Black people only kill Chinese. Black people shouldn't be killing. There is an issue within the black community which is leading them towards violence. We can discuss whether it's genetic. We can discuss whether it's cultural. We can discuss whether it's systemic. We can discuss that. But it is asinine and ignorant to pretend that there is not a culture within the black community which is leading to violence. There clearly is. There clearly is. And that needs to be addressed. I say this as a half black man myself. My father was black. Half of my family is black. But I'm not blind.
You've all heard me talking about jacked up fitness and they're
Tate's 100% true. I mean, he's just telling it like it is, man. Of course, there's some crime. Of course, there's crimes that white people do, but there's also crimes that black people do, and it's higher in America. I'm pretty sure.
Said to you that I know that that there is a big problem with young black men in London committing knife
And in
crimes,
London.
and the vast majority of the victims of that knife crime are also black. That is just a statistical fact, right? So it just flies slightly in the face of your white genocide nonsense, which I call nonsense because there is no evidence of a white genocide.
Of course there is.
No, there isn't.
Of course there is.
No,
White
there isn't.
people are losing their countries in real time. White
Nope.
people are less percentage of the population of Earth than they've ever been.
Do you even know
White
what
people's
genocide
history is
means?
being replaced.
Do you know
What do you
what
mean there's no white
genocide means?
genocide? They're literally disappearing from the planet, sir.
This may explain why you keep saying genocide about Israel from October the 8th onwards. You said it was a genocide. It may be you don't understand what a genocide actually is.
Of course I do. I
No,
very clearly understand what a genocide is.
Well, if you think
When
it's
you're
to
trying
do with white people in
erase
England,
an entire
you don't
race of
understand what
people
genocide
here,
is, do you?
That is a genocide. The level of psyop which has been orchestrated upon the white person to give up all of their love of their history, to believe that all of their ancestors' work doesn't count, to believe that their God-given
Yep.
lands aren't theirs, to believe that they have no right to live in harmony or
Yep.
racial cohesion with anyone around them. The level of psyop that's been inflicted upon the white man is absolutely monumental, perhaps the largest psyop in history.
Left-wing, radicalized, lunatic manipulation.
Let me ask you, why did the British Empire give its lands back?
What do you mean?
Well, the British Empire, the British are the largest empire in history. Why did we give Uganda back or the Caribbean? Why did we give it back?
Because we took a lot of that land to start with.
Because we took it. Because it is their land, given to them by God. This was the assumption that the British state came up with. Oh, we can't take someone else's land. It's theirs. It was given to them by God, and they have an ancestral right to that land. So what right does that give the white person to the countries that they settled? What right does that give the white person to England? Because it's his ancestors and his land. He has a God-given right.
If you're so exercised
He's
in
right.
England, why don't you come and live here?
Well, I intend on being your prime minister soon, Piers.
Well, you're going to find that quite hard if you're living in
Romania.
Romania.
I'll be the prime minister of the UK.
No, but you decided to live in another country. You left the country. You purport to be incredibly concerned about how we spend our taxes, but you yourself didn't pay the taxes that you owed according to the authorities. That's why they took
according to the corrupt authorities.
Okay, you deny
yes.
it. You deny. I just assume you deny every wrongdoing you've ever been accused of, and you may well be the victim of the greatest miscarriage of justice ever seen in the history of mankind, or maybe.
I don't know about that now. I mean, all them charges kind of sound like a bunch of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know for sure, but oh my God. But all them charges do sound a little fucking fishy to me.
Or maybe you're just a bullshitter and you are guilty. I don't know.
If I was guilty, why am I not in jail, Piers?
I don't know. We'll see, right? I believe in letting justice do its course, right? But we'll see.
Look at his face, bro.
Julian Assange guilty of rape?
Let me just come back to a point I want to make.
Let me ask you, because for 12 years he was a rapist.
I'm actually doing the interview.
Let me ask you about. And no one talks about his imaginary victim anymore.
I want to make a point.
Turns out they just made it up to get rid of the guy because he was a problem for the Matrix.
Let me just.
Oh, he raped someone in
Let's
Sweden.
talk about the Matrix in a moment.
Who's his victim?
Okay.
Oh, and she never existed.
Okay.
As soon as he deleted WikiLeaks and agreed to their little plea bargain, she was gone. Very much like my victims never existed.
I want to make the point to you.
It is a scam, and you should know better by now.
Okay. I want to make the point to you that when you talk about the issue of the Ukrainian woman killed in the train incident in the United States, that actually when you go off in your huge rant that this person was motivated by a left-wing agenda of hating white people and blah, 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 it reminds...
Oh, he 100% was. There's no fucking debate about it, bro. It's just obvious. When you have so many fucking dots that connect, you know, and like connect the dots. I figured out we learned this shit when we was children, bro. You know, and when we have so much like connect the dots, that means like connect the fucking dots, bro. You know what I'm saying? Fucking idiotic fucking behavior.
Reminds me of what you did in the UK after that young black boy killed those 3 white girls. Is that
I can be right.
You know, it makes me feel a little bit happy because at least we have people over there in England that's over here in the U.S. Like we have a lot of Piers Morgans over here that act like this and blatantly deny facts straight in front of their face. We have a lot of those over here.
Is that you made, but you were wrong there in the assumption.
I wasn't wrong.
You were wrong in the assumptions you made that he was an illegal migrant come over on the small boats.
No,
right? You
my
were wrong.
assumption was that he shouldn't be there.
Fine, that's fine. He was born in the UK. You might have a view.
Nations that you are not native to.
My point
you
is,
behave well
my point is, you rushed to judgment and you were wrong. And you're rushing to judgment with this guy, and I don't know the truth, and nor do you. What I do think is it was a heinous murder, a disgusting incident, and that the mainstream media failed the American public in refusing to report.
I mean, he's right. Look what they did to Johnny Somali. I mean, you don't do that shit over in other countries. We allow it over here, but you don't do that shit over in other countries. You just don't do it.
What I do think is it was a heinous murder, a disgusting incident, and that the mainstream media failed the American public in refusing to report it properly. And even now when they're reporting it, they're trying to do it through the prism of right-wing MAGA people trying to turn it into a race row, when in fact the guy is on tape saying, I got the white girl. I want to know more about that. I want to know more about his background and whether he did this for racially motivated reasons. And the tape is certainly a part of that investigation. But I think when you rush to judgment and you have your platform, it's incredibly dangerous, Andrew.
Look, there's always going to be people trying to turn it into a race route. What you really need to do is not worry about any of that bullshit and look straight at what's right in front of you. The direct facts, the blatantly obvious things, stuff like that. That's what comes to a conclusion. None of the left-wing rhetoric or the right-wing rhetoric or just the racist people in general. You make your own conclusion and come to a solid foundation, a solid fact, something that you believe within yourself. That's how it always should be.
Saying, I got the white girl. I want to know more about that. I want to know more about his background and whether he did this for racially motivated reasons. And
we did.
The tape is certainly a part of that investigation. But I think when you rush to judgment and you have your platform, it's incredibly dangerous. I get so many young men in particular, teenage boys, early 20s, who come up and ask me about you and our interviews and what I actually think about you. You know that. You have a big influence and a big reach. But you
Perhaps the largest.
But all right. But they hear you make a big rant about protecting women's rights and so on, right? But only today, on your X account, to millions of people, you've said this: stop letting women vote. Stop giving women position as judges. Stop giving women political appointments. As soon as only men run government and law.
Hey, remember what I said about I don't agree with him on a lot of women-wise takes? I might agree with him on this one right here. I might agree with him. Like, you say whatever you want to, bro, but I might agree with him on this one right here.
All the problems disappear. Women now understand that without male protection, they're nothing but victims. You are not a girl boss.
Listen, it's just a known fact that women are prone to emotional manipulation way more than men are, and there's just a lot of facts I could go down to why it'd be a better idea, but
there is no such thing. Crying for Iriana is a wake-up call for females. And honestly, I don't think I've ever read a more ludicrously misogynistic, hypocritical load of claptrap in my life. How can you pretend to be standing up for women's rights when actually what you want to do is subjugate? You pretend a ludicrously wake-up call for females. And honestly, I don't think I've ever read a more ludicrously misogynistic, hypocritical load of claptrap in my life. How can you pretend to be standing up for women's rights when actually what you want to do is subjugate women of all their rights? How do those two things sit without you being a brazen hypocrite?
You are conflating subjugation with protection. It turns out that it's the big, evil, mean misogynists who say that his woman shouldn't have to work in a pizza parlor or that she can't defend herself on a bus or that she shouldn't be walking outside alone. I should go with her. It's us big, evil, mean misogynists who actually care about women.
You don't even want women to vote.
It is the
you don't even want to give women the right to vote.
The liberals, the Democrats, the idiots who are going to sit there and pretend that a woman should be able to make her own money and take a public transport alone and sit next to a black guy and not worry about it. All of their worldviews led to her murder. I remember when I spoke to you on October 8th, and I said my women don't have jobs. You said, why don't your women have jobs?
What
My
you're
answer
saying,
is simple, because if they have a job,
is
they might
absolute.
be today.
Now, I do believe women should have jobs, and I do believe they should have a lot of rights and shit like that. But he is right about the political offices. There's a lot of reasons why that should not be a thing. Really, there just is a lot of logical reasons.
Andrew,
Because society is
Andrew,
broken down.
Andrew,
We built society
Andrew,
specifically
what you're
for the reason
saying-
that women used to have to walk around with a permanent male chaperone.
Yeah.
And society was built so that women could go outside and interact with the world
Yeah.
without a chaperone.
Yeah.
Society was built by evil, misogynistic men. And
Yeah.
then these feminists came along and destroyed it all. I believe in protecting women because I don't believe they can fight. If that makes me a misogynist, so be it.
No, the
Women
reason
like
you're-
men who
okay,
protect
let me
them.
respond.
No woman wants to be
No,
seen
no.
as a man's equal
Andrew,
in the realm of
the
martial
reason-
combat.
no,
sir.
no, the
And
reason-
me saying that is
the
women
reason-
who vote for these
the
DEI
reason I'm going to
policies.
He's
try
right.
to talk.
Women who vote for liberalism.
I'm going to try and talk.
Women who vote for open
Let me
borders.
talk.
A female judge let
Yes,
him out.
okay.
And this is a wake-up call to all women to listen to the bad
Oh,
guys.
they've had the
'cause
wake-up
bad
call.
guys want
Okay.
you alive. And
Yes.
the good guys,
Stop
the
talking.
wimps, want you stabbed in the neck
Okay,
and dead.
stop talking. So you, again, just to repeat, you said this today in your rant. Stop letting women vote. Stop giving them positions as judges. Stop giving
Correct.
them political appointments. As soon as
Correct.
only men run government
Correct.
and law, all the
I like
problems
those
disappear.
terms
Women
of
now
service right there.
understand that without
Correct.
male protection, they're nothing but victims. I can't
Correct.
think. Do you even understand how?
It's true, man. I mean,
Well, let me ask you a question. Who votes for liberalism? Who votes for soft on crime? Who votes for open borders? Who votes for just vote?
Do you even understand how misogynist that is?
yeah, but you gotta think about it. It's kind of facts, man. You know what I mean? Like, it really is. It's like, at the end of the day, it's a fucking fact. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it's just bottom line.
Good question. Who votes for liberalism? Who votes for soft on crime? Who votes for open borders? Who votes for DEI? By and large, male or female, which sex is it?
Wow, you're really juggling
Female.
aren't you?
What was the gender of the judge who let this man out his 14th time in court? Male or female?
Wow.
Female.
Female.
Wow.
Why was this woman going to work and ride in the tram late alone at night instead of thinking this is dangerous or I need to find a man to take care of me? Why was she doing this? Because she probably believed that she can go and fend for herself and deal with herself out in the world. She doesn't need male protection. Bad things happen when we ignore reality. I'm not a misogynist.
He's right.
I'm not a racist. I am a realist.
Yep, a realist, exactly, like I am.
People are being subjugated
So you're
and
blaming-
genocide.
you're blaming
That
this-
is clear.
So just to
And
be
women
clear,
need to
all right,
understand that
stop
it takes
shouting.
a bad guy
Okay.
to be a bad guy.
Okay.
And the big, evil, mean, toxically masculine misogynist, let me tell you something. I'm the only guy on that tram who would have killed that guy before he got off of it.
Yeah.
I
Nope.
would have took the knife off him and stabbed him in his neck.
Sure.
Only me. No one else did.
Very
so it takes a
macho.
bad guy to beat a bad
Yeah,
guy.
very
sir.
macho of you. But what you're basically inferring is that she brought this on herself.
No, what I'm inferring
You are.
is that a society was built to protect women. And when you protect something, you must restrict something. We have taken that restriction.
Right. Listen to that. Listen to that blatant lying right there. Piers Morgan is doing. So she brought this on herself. No, he's legit saying that society was built around her to make these fucking situations possible. Like he, dude, that's why I don't watch Piers Morgan.
Taken that protective instinct, conflated it into subjugation. You did it at the beginning of this questioning.
Yeah.
You tried to say
When
we
you remove
subjugate
a
women,
woman's
instead
right to
we built an
vote,
entire
when you
society
remove a
around
woman's right to
protecting women.
work and
if
vote
that is ignored,
and all
if
these
that is
other
damaged
things,
and
you are
decimated,
reducing
then
women
females are
to
prey.
your
The
chattel.
society we live in now, women are permanent prey every single time they leave the house because of all of these liberal, femme-minded,
And why do you
garbage,
think-
girl feels,
Okay.
girl boss,
And why do you
Netflix,
think-
Piers Morgan,
And what?
bullshit.
Okay. And
it
why
needs
do you
to
think?
end.
And
Women are
Andrew
gonna
Tate.
keep dying.
Andrew Tate, why do you think it is that people think you're a misogynist?
Nobody thinks that.
You don't understand why, do you? You can't even get it as you spew this stuff.
Oh, I understand that there's weaponized virtue. I understand that
Oh, it's not
liberals-
weaponized virtue.
I understand, sir.
You don't.
Exactly. There's weaponized virtue, and they always kind of throw it back at you. Oh, you're a misogynist. Let me tell you something. Anyone that uses the word misogynist, fascist, and tries to like shut you down in the conversation, you can already tell that their intelligence level is below an 80. Like they're very, very, very stupid individuals. They're like Forrest Gump level, and they need to be treated as such.
believe in
same
women's
media,
rights.
I understand the
You
same
don't
media
believe in
will
women's rights.
refuse to report on this woman dying.
Yeah.
Say I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, but you're
I
trying to portray
understand that.
yourself.
I just don't care.
You're trying
because
to
they're
portray.
clearly
Okay, stop
corrupt.
shouting. You're trying to portray yourself as the savior of women, but
No,
you at the same time.
No, I'm not.
You at the same time you want to remove all their rights. You're a despicable misogynist. That's all you
protection.
are.
Piers Morgan, you piss me off, bro.
That is the basic
They can't vote. They can't work. They can't have meaningful jobs. They can't help run governments. What can women do in your world?
To me, I didn't say they couldn't work. No, they could work. It's not fucking run a country.
What can women do in your world?
Just saying.
Never mind poor girl. What about the way you're talking about women? What about the way you're talking about women?
How am I talking about them? I'm saying that women voting and women not listening to men or letting men protect them, or female judges put us in this position. That is true.
You think women should be?
A man's job.
You think women should stay at home, do you?
And if we
women should stay at home,
have a degree of control. Piers,
should women stay at home, Andrew?
What time to be home? Is it because I'm a horrible misogynist and I subjugate them, or is it because I care about them?
Do you believe that?
There's a left-wing rhetoric right there for you. It's a buzzword. Should women stay at home, Andrew? Should women stay at home, man? Shut up, bro. Honestly.
Women should stay at home and just be.
I asked you a question, and you've asked a lot.
No, I'm asking you the question.
I tell my daughters what time to be home.
I'm asking you the question.
Is it because I'm a misogynist?
You can shout as much as you want. It won't make any difference. Do you believe a woman's place is at home? No work, no job. I'm asking you the question.
Because I'm a misogynist?
You can shout as much as you want. It won't make any difference. Do you believe a woman's place is at home? No work, no job, no right to vote, no right to be in a government, no right to be a judge. Do you believe all those things?
I believe a woman has a different set of skills than a man. And I believe that when it comes to the protection of society, and society is primarily the protection of women and children, that is the duty of men. Decisions around that, e.g. judge, should be made by men. Enforcement, e.g. police, should be made by men. And the best prevention, the best cure is to avoid something happening in the first place. Therefore, restrictions should be made by a man who cares about the woman. That is why my daughters have a curfew. Not because I'm a misogynist, not because I want to subjugate them, not because I'm an evil person, because I care about them and I love them and I protect them by keeping them away from possible scenarios. Instead of trying to run in like Rambo, the scenario's already begun.
Yeah, by keeping them at home.
Yes, if I want my daughter to be safe, she has to be home at a certain time.
If
that makes me a bad person, Piers, you can call up the rest of the liberal media, the same media who don't report on a woman getting stabbed in the neck, and you can do a big expose about how Andrew Tate's daughter is...
You don't hear him, bro.
What skills do you want your daughters to have?
I want my daughters, very much like the other women in my life, to be as happy as possible, to feel protected, to feel safe, and I want them to focus on the number one thing they're good at. I really pray that my daughters have children with a man they love, ASAP, and focus on motherhood. I think that's the best thing for my bloodline. I think it's the best thing for their happiness. I think it's the best thing for society. Because, this conversation could go on for 6 hours. There's many things you don't know. But the only reason these savages are in our country in the first place...
Piers Morgan, because he's a femboy, won't say it, but a lot of men think this way, dude. They want their women to have a child, have a family, carry on the bloodline, stuff like that.
It's because in the Western world, the native people have stopped reproducing. And that is a conversation which is 3 hours long about all the reasons why. White people don't have babies anymore. GDP is all made up. The Ponzi scheme, which is pensions, is about to collapse. We now have to import a whole bunch of psychopathic third worlders, and people are going to get stabbed and die for it. So what I will do, because I will do my very best to try and contribute to society by every metric, is encourage my daughters to find a man they love and have as many children as they possibly can. That's what I'll encourage my daughters to do.
And what if one of them wants to job?
To have kids that need to be alive.
What if one of them wants to go out and work?
Past 8 o'clock because Dad says so.
And what if one of your girls says, "Hey, Dad, can I go out and get a job?" Your answer is no, is it?
My answer is, why do you need a job?
No, your answer would be no, right? Just to be clear.
My answer would be convince me, but most likely no. But maybe they can convince me. Maybe they can say we need to save the turtles.
And if they say, I want to have a right to vote in my country, your answer... If your daughters say... And if your daughters say... If your daughters say they want to vote...
The answer would be no.
And if your daughters...
You know what's so tragic, Piers?
And if
you know what's so tragic about this case we're not talking about? The majority of women who ran away from Ukraine ended up in Dubai as a sugar baby to a millionaire. This poor girl tried to do the right thing. She's the only one who wasn't chasing money. She wasn't the only one being a sugar baby. She wasn't the only one selling herself. She went to a terrible part of America, North Carolina. I don't know why she's there of all cities. And she's working in a pizza parlor, making minimum wage, probably trying to retain her dignity and respect instead of selling out to some rich guy. And she gets stabbed in the neck. We are forcing women into basic prostitution now because they can't have a job. Why do all these women do OnlyFans? They can't go out and have a job. Why do all these women share rich men? They can't go out and have a job. Why do all these women move to Dubai? They can't go out and have a job. If you're a pretty girl in Memphis, Tennessee, you can't work at a pizza parlor. You can't go outside. You can't walk down the street. You can't get a taxi.
What
You're
a
only
load of crap.
The seventh girlfriend to a millionaire. Do OnlyFans.
What a load of absolute crap.
Have a rich father.
And by the way,
how destroyed our society.
And by the way, how could you?
Society is so
sorry,
women can't even work jobs.
Sorry, forgive me.
So sad about
okay,
this
stop talking.
She was doing the
stop
right
talking. Thing. Forgive me, but irony just died. Are you really lambasting people for doing OnlyFans when you ran a webcam operation?
I didn't lambast. I said that's what they're going to do.
Right.
Because women are not safe to do
anything
else.
But you literally paid them to do a similar thing on webcam.
10 years ago, I had a webcam company, correct.
So you literally did the same thing.
I'm not anti-OnlyFans.
That's how you employed women.
That women cannot work jobs.
Yeah, Piers Morgan's just turning his words on Tate. Like he didn't say he was against OnlyFans. He said they turned OnlyFans. So.
This is why nightlife is employed. I had a webcam company, correct.
So you literally did the same thing.
I'm not anti-OnlyFans.
That's how you employed women.
That women cannot work jobs anymore. This is why nightlife has died. Women don't go out anymore. You know why London has absolutely no nightlife? What girl
when were you last out in London?
On a Thursday night is going to walk around at 2 a.m.
When were you last out in London?
None. The whole city is
gone.
When
were you last out in London?
The same. People aren't going to meet anymore.
I was out in London the other day. It was packed with people, including
many women. Nobody does anything but sits inside on their phone, and it's because the streets are running with blood.
Really? Well, I was out in London the other day, packed with people, having a good time, including many women.
Where was you, Piers Morgan? In the suburbs of London?
Most of whom will find your views utterly ridiculous. Utterly Dickensian and ridiculous. A woman's place is at home, no vote, no job, no power. But you, Andrew Tate, believe that's the way to protect them and to save women for the world. What a joke.
I believe if we were to bring up an electoral map
what a joke.
Now,
I hope young men, who watch this interview realize the emperor wears no clothes. Because actually all you want to do is subjugate women.
Only men vote, and let's see if it's Democratic or Republican.
Only men vote.
The only men that are going to be watching this video and doing that are the ones that are going to be seeing your ideals peek through from your own political values and go ahead and make a logical conclusion for themselves and back the fuck off anything you had to do with Piers Morgan. That's what they're going to do. 100%. I mean, that's what I would do. What you're talking. I mean, it's blatantly like trying to turn it to like left-wing rhetoric shit. Like you was asking him, do you think a woman could have a job? Do you think a woman could have a job? Do you think a woman could have a job? That wasn't even what he was saying, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Only men vote.
The American continent.
I want young men.
Vote, and let's see if it's Democratic or Republican.
All you want to do is subjugate women.
Only men.
Young men.
No, this is your
I hope young men who watch this interview realize the emperor wears no clothes. Because actually all you want to do is subjugate women.
Only men vote, and let's see if it's Democratic or Republican.
Only men vote.
Democratic, liberal, left-leaning, or Republican.
Only men
vote. The American continent.
I want young men to watch this interview. I want them to watch it back several times and understand that actually underpinning your whole shtick is brazen, really damaging misogyny. You are a terrible misogynist, and that is the truth. And you may pretend you're not, even maybe to yourself. But when you talk about the way you want to subjugate women, no vote, no job, no power, but you, Andrew Tate, will take control of them and take charge and protect them. Do me a bloody favor. Why would any woman want to do that?
No vote, no power, listens to daddy, does everything I say. She's alive, well, and drives a Bentley. Let me tell you something, Piers. I've asked you many single questions. I've asked you many questions on this interview, and you answered absolutely none of them for a reason.
My job is the interviewer.
You're damn right. He's answered none of them.
Complain about the vote. Bring up and then
Not a single one.
of men only voting in America. Let's look if men are voting for these soft on crime, open border policies of the Democrats, or if men are voting Republican. Prove me wrong. This is your chance, Mr. Piers Morgan, legend of the legacy
You're
media,
mistaking
Mr.
me.
Smartass.
You're mistaking me for a fellow misogynist, and I'm not.
No,
Oh, you are. You're the biggest one, Piers Morgan. A fellow misogynist. One takes one to know one. One that's justifying everything and then calling somebody a fucking misogynist themselves.
People will watch. Well, we'll see how your credibility fares after your court cases, right? And like I say,
the same as it did in Romania.
Like I say,
same as it did in Romania.
I think it'll be just fine, to be honest.
I think it's going to be very.
No, if you were a real journalist, Pierce, if you were a real journalist, I just told you that the British Foreign Office wrote to another sovereign nation declaring me a national security threat and asking them to get me off the internet. Don't you think you should have asked a single question about that? How I know it? What proof I have? Is it on paper? Why did they do that? Is that legal? Why were you in jail without charges? 4 years locked in your house, never convicted. You never even went to court. If you were a real journalist, you would have asked me 20 questions. And you know what? I told you that. I told you something breaking. That the British Foreign Office broke international law, just like they did with Julian Assange, and you didn't care because you are an establishment figure. All you are is a figurehead for the Matrix itself. You don't care about the truth ever. You say what you're supposed to say.
100% right. Just like CNN and SMN.
Interview is that you've revealed the truth about yourself. You just don't even really realize it, or maybe you do and you don't care.
But I mean, MSN not SMN.
You laid bare as a brazen misogynist, somebody who wants to.
We clearly see it, Piers Morgan. We got it locked in, bro.
Misogynist with an unhealthy influence over young men, and they should watch this interview and understand very clearly that actually women should have the right to vote. They should have the right.
Oh,
to
you're
work.
fucking
they
lost,
should have
dude.
The right to hold positions of power, and that your kind of misogyny is actually taking us back.
See, this is the emotional suicide, the suicidal empathy. I'm talking about men like this. My bad. Men like this will put aside biology and basic facts to get in women's pants and appease these fucking leftist, Karen lunatics, mentally ill, middle-aged woman epidemic that we've got going on in our country. They'll do that to appease these people and get in their pants.
150 years to a place where women stayed at home
should have the right
and had
to ride
children
the subway
and took care of, to a place where women.
If you look at the biology and facts, women are 70% more emotionally manipulated with easy things like that. And that should automatically disqualify them from any congressional meetings, like any big things that have to do with statewide things and countrywide things that you have to think about multiple people, because suicidal empathy will kill you every time. It'll kill your country, it'll kill everything, it'll kill everything you stand for. These people have suicidal empathy to the point where it's just ridiculous, and it's for immigrants and not for you. Nothing about your country or nothing about you. They don't give a fuck about you. Just always remember that.
Actually taking us back 150 years to a place where women.
He's waking us up with common sense is what he's doing. Piers Morgan is trying to deflect the conversation and keep us in the dark so his left-wing rhetoric can roar more loudly.
Stayed at home should have the right and had children and took care of their man. And if we went back to that
women should have the right to go outside without being raped by third world migrants.
Yeah, you know what? The vast majority of women do go outside without that happening to them.
Man they're having kids with can earn enough money to pay for the family. Women have more important rights.
He's just an idiot. Any woman that doesn't go outside and isn't scared of something in today's day and age is just retarded. Like, men are a very big threat for women. Even in today's day and age, they're very more physically stronger than women. Biology, I mean, it's just obvious. They're always looking around their back, not like men. Men never look around their back and shit like that. They ain't really worried. Women are always doing that to make sure they're all right.
than being psyoped by the
They're seriously
media
a threat.
into
They're
caring
definitely a
about
threat.
abortion, watching too much Sex in the City, and voting in a whole bunch of psychopaths who stab fellow women on the bus.
Right. Andrew Tate, appreciate you coming back on Uncensored. Thank you.
No problem.
Breaking news.
It's a Piers Morgan way to end it right there.